welcome to How We Keep the Art Alive. This is a segment, again, created by Tenacious Theatrics to celebrate the artists who are keeping the art alive in their own communities while we are going through this COVID-19 pandemic. It's all terrible, but again, we have excellent talent who are willing to share their stories with us tonight. So, first of all, we have John Rinaldi. This is John. Say hi, John.
Hi, everybody. I'm John.
John, it is so good to be talking to you in this format because we are working together in our Little Shop of Horrors online cabaret, and we get to see each other every now and then in rehearsals and on the phone when we're discussing directing stuff. But other than that, I really don't know that much about you, so I'm glad that we are able to get a chance to talk. So, if you wouldn't mind just telling our audience just a little bit about you, where you're from, what your background is, all that good stuff.
Sure. So, okay, well, I've been singing forever. I was born, born to sing. My first dentist showed my mom the inside of my mouth, and he goes, "Look at the palate on this child. This child is going to be an opera singer," which was hilarious because I didn't even know that until later. But anyway, I'm from California originally, Southern Cal, near Disneyland, city of Orange. Started doing shows when I was a kid. Worked at all the sort of local regional theaters doing musicals starting from when I was probably 9 or 10. And then went pro when I was 16. I got my first dinner theater show at Sebastian's Dinner Theater in San Clemente. And I worked there for a year doing Kismet and Fiddler on the Roof and 40s review, which was really fun and really hard work. So that was crazy. And I was 16 years old and the only non-adult. So it was an interesting time filled with learning. And then a couple years later, I went started working at a place called Opera Pacific, and I was one of their apprentice artists at Opera Pacific. And that was a neat company because they worked with really high-level talent from the opera world and from the theater world. So we got to do some really fun stuff like, a fancy Norma with Dame Joan Sutherland. It was her last Norma. And I got to do My Fair Lady with Patty Cohenauer. That was really fun. Anyway, that was when I was in my 20s. And then I took a lot of time off performing, working in other fields, working in tech and nonprofit. And I missed performing. So I started dipping my toe back in the water in about 2006. I took about 15 years off. And then, before you know it was back in the theater scene, but this time, older and getting to do all these character parts like Mushnik, and had a great time in the Bay Area. I finished my music degree while I was doing that, and that enabled me to become a voice teacher, which is how I earn my living now, along with acting. Along around that time, I graduated with my new degree in 2015, moved to New York from San Francisco in 2017, because I had been living in San Francisco. And then from New York, we moved to outside of Amsterdam in the Netherlands in 2018, which was great because my husband's parents live here and we wanted to be closer to them. So that's who I am. That's where I am. And so currently just teaching people. I've been really busy because of the pandemic. So even though it's bad, it has been helpful for me just to get me in contact with people. I feel like people need to sing more than ever right now. And I have kind of a wide range of people. I work with everybody from beginners to pros. And it's really a lifeline for me. And I find it really helps me as a performer too. It keeps me sharp for performing. So, that's who I am, and I've been trying to keep busy in quarantine, so lots of little projects.
Yeah, I didn't know that you moved to New York in 2017. I also moved to New York in 2017, so...
Do you know what? We almost met, because what my cabaret debut was in New York? It was the Cranky Cabaret.
The Cranky Cabaret.
And you did the Cranky Cabaret, right?
Yeah, I did Cranky Cabaret twice.
I think I did it right after you, because I did it March, I think, or April of 2017.
Yeah, I did mine in March of 20... Nope. No, I did mine in 2018, I think.
Oh, was I 2018? Okay, yeah. I'm sorry, I had my years wrong. Mine was March of 2018 also. Were you in the one at some studio on 52nd Street?
No, so at least my first one, I was at this church on 100th Street,
Heard
100th
about
and
that
Broadway.
place. This was right after that.
And then I think right after that performance, they moved to, I think it was oh my goodness, Shetler Studios.
Yeah, yeah.
And they were doing shows in Shetler Studios. So the second time I did it at Shetler. So maybe it was my second time that we almost ran into each other.
It's so funny. I'm trying to think back, but yeah, I don't. We may have been in the same one. I don't know, but if not, we came very close to meeting.
Yeah.
New York is like that. New York is magical like that, right?
I know. And I was talking to Justin, who we're going to be talking to later, that just this whole like theater community is so small. It really is. Like there are thousands of us out there, millions of us, I bet. But somehow we're all interconnected and somebody knows that person, and they know you. So it's like we
No,
have
it's true.
to.
People all know each other, and New York was really fun because while I was there, I got to work in some other cabaret spaces, and I had a really good time. I got to do a show at Don't Tell Mama, and that was just super fun because it was the first time, working in New York, and I had this really awesome musical director pianist named Matthew Martin Ward, who's been in lots of pits in lots of theaters, and he's just an old pro and just the greatest. And so it really felt good to be doing music and doing cabaret in that spot where so many other people have gotten to do stuff. It just has a great vibe. So it's a great club. I hope it will come back after COVID. It's a really wonderful place to work, and they're also super supportive of their talent. They treat their talent, awesomely. So it's one of those places I really hope they will be able to bounce back.
Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why I love New York, because of course we moved to New York to be on Broadway. That is the dream, at least for most of us. That's the dream. And while we're waiting for that to happen, there are so many opportunities for you to make art with other people and meet other people. I think the most of my connections were from cabarets, doing drunk musicals, Cranky Cabaret. There were 100. There are too many to remember. I think.
Oh yeah, no, there's lots. There's lots. Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me about what you've been doing since. You said you've been doing your voice lessons. Is that the only thing that you've been doing since Corona started, or have you been doing other?
It's the main thing, but I have been doing some other stuff just to keep busy. So my first little collaboration was just with a friend of mine who lives in Texas, my friend Morgan. We had done She Loves Me together. She had played Ilona to my Sipos, and she's awesome, and she lives in Texas now. So we did a remote duet of the Maltby and Shire song Travel from Starting Here, Starting Now. And we put that on her podcast, which is on YouTube. It's called Morgan on the Daily, because Morgan, her last name is Daly, get it? But so that was our first project, and it was really fun because I had never done anything like this, and so I laid down the piano track first, and then I video recorded myself singing to the piano track, and then sent that all to her, and then she added herself so that we were singing, in essence together. And it came out really well, and it's up there on YouTube. That was my first foray into Corona time stuff, and I also did a Facebook Live little concert like everybody was doing. I did a little benefit for the Actors Fund. It was like a half hour long. Then I recorded this CD. I had just have a very teeny tiny part on this CD that was put together by a company that I work with in the Bay Area called Broadway by the Bay. And people were feeling bummed out, and people were ready for some Christmas and some holiday time. So they recorded this incredible album called Home Hope Holidays. And there's about, I think, 60 or 70 singers on it because they made a huge choir. And so you won't hear me by myself, but I'm part of the choir on a couple of songs. And then they actually press CDs, and it's also available wherever music streams.
That is so awesome. I love that.
It's fun, right? And we had people all over the world doing this. We had somebody in Guam, and people in New York, and people in California, and me in Europe, and lots of people all over the place. So, and I always put all this stuff on my website. So if you're ever interested in either lessons or my cabaret show, or like any of the recording stuff that I'm doing, or the podcast stuff, you can find it all at my website, which is www.johnjamesrinaldi.com. But the latest project I just finished, this is also super cool. There's a company in San Jose called JB Presents, which is run by a guy named John Bisceglia. And he used to do, or before Corona, he was putting together big shows that were like reviews of Broadway songs, like, a Sondheim review or a Rodgers and Hammerstein review or whatever. But since we can't do that, he's putting together recordings instead, and everybody's virtual. So a friend of mine was doing his Best of Broadway recording, which they're getting ready to release right now. Again, there's a ton of singers, but this time soloist here. But so my friend Chrissy, who lives in Cologne, Germany, but who I knew originally from the Bay Area, was singing a song. She was singing "Take Me to the World" from Evening Primrose by Stephen Sondheim, and she asked me if I would sing the guy part. So we did it together. I recorded my part here in the Netherlands. Chrissy recorded her part in Cologne, and then my piano player / music director, Matthew, that I mentioned before, he played all the music, made the track in New York. We melded that all together and then sent that to San Jose, and they're putting it on the album, which is going to be coming out, I think, in May. So again, you can find it on my website, and that's a beautiful song, and it's also a really cool and weird movie musical. If you haven't seen Evening Primrose, there's a copy floating around on YouTube somewhere. Watch it. It's a 45-minute sort of chamber musical by Sondheim, and it's very freaky. Watch it on Halloween. It'll freak you out.
I'll definitely make sure I watch that, because I haven't seen it yet. But
oh my God, it's so weird. It's so weird.
Something that you mentioned, I just love the fact that you are so involved in all these productions that are all over the world. That's something that I hope. Yeah, that's something I hope Tenacious Theatrics is able to do. I think this project was the first time we actually went out of the country. With you, you're the one who's not in the U.S. So, but I think that's the benefit of having like virtual theater, is that you can cast people from all over the planet and create art together. And I think that's so wonderful that you're getting out there and still working with your connections that you had when you were still living in this.
And I actually forgot I have a big thing coming up next week, which is I'm actually filming an educational film in Amsterdam with a company of Romanian filmmakers. And they're doing this educational film for graduate students, and it's going to be packaged like a sitcom. Like it's gonna feel like a sitcom for these students, but of course there will be valuable lessons embedded in it. And it's fairly humorous, and I play the guy that's worked at the office for 100 years and who bursts into song at all times, especially when it's not appropriate. And so we're gonna do like live in-person shooting on a set with COVID testing and PPE and all that jazz starting next week. So let you know about how that goes, but it should be coming out to educational institutions near you, and they said there's a chance they would release it like just for general release, but I don't know. I don't see that.
Awesome. John, do you have something to sing for us or share with us today?
So for my song, I wanted to share something of a deep cut from the musical Blondel from the early 80s. Lyrics are by Tim Rice. Music is by a wonderful composer that is no longer with us named Stephen Oliver, who was somehow related to the guy who's a talk show host now, John Oliver. Really, really great musician, died very young. Blondel is about a court musician, a minstrel, who plays a lute and is a huge fan of King Richard the Lionheart, follows him around Europe on the Crusades, and actually foils a plot by the evil Prince John to take over the throne. Blondel has this girlfriend, this long-suffering girlfriend named Fiona, who has a wonderful song called Running Back for More, because she is very long-suffering. She gives him lots of chances. So I'd like to sing it for you because I love girl songs. Running Back for More from Blondel. From almost every point of view, I don't need him any longer. Once again, I'm going through all the moves I've made before, till it comes to leaving, till it comes to leaving. I hear a voice that sounds running back for more, running back for even more, hoping things will change. Well, that's no crime. Want a second chance, just one more time, running back for more, running back for more, running back for something more. Any other road's a long, long climb. Want the love I know, and that's why I'm running back for more. Half the world says, leave him be. Makes it sound so very easy. They don't know the half of me. How I've tried 1,000 times. How my love defeats me. How my love defeats me. Running back for more, running back for even more, hoping things will change. Well, that's no crime. Want a second chance, just one more time, running back for more, running back for more, running back for even more. Any other road's a long, long climb. Want the love I know, and that's why I'm running back for more, running back for more, running back for more. Want the love I know, and that's why I'm running back for more.
Everybody's clapping. Everybody's clapping.
I can see the quiet claps.
Oh, John, that was so good.
Oh, thanks. I love this show. It's a great show.
The quality of your voice is so rich. Natalie Holt McDonald, who was on the first episode, you guys have very similar tone qualities to your voices. It's rich. It's good. It's like butter.
Thank you. Thanks. Yeah, this is a perk of doing this as an older person is you have a lot more to draw on and you have a lot more colors in your voice and in your acting. So I'm having a way better time doing this now in my 50s than I ever did in my 20s. So don't quit, kids. Keep doing it.
You're 50?
I'm 53.
Oh, stop it.
Italian, man. It's the olive oil, the marinara, all that good stuff.
Oh my gosh. John, it was such a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you so much for being here. Any last words you'd like to say?
Just thank you, and thanks for putting together this awesome little shop. I've been so blown away by just the whole experience and getting to meet everybody and work together, and I feel like we're putting together something that's really special, and I can't wait for people to see it. So thanks so much. And I do want to say, I want it to be like on record that I find you amazing because you do everything. You know, you're playing every note in the band and you're doing all the production stuff. I think it's pretty incredible. So thank you for doing that.
Thanks, John. That means a lot.
You bet, man. It's hard work.
Yeah.
But very appreciated.
All right. Next up, we have Zoe Heggie. Hi, Zoe.
Hi, so good to be here, guys. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it's so good to speak to you again. The last time that we spoke, you were auditioning for Little Shop of Horrors online cabaret. And unfortunately, we couldn't cast you, but you were such a great person and such a talent. I had to bring you on the show. So
Oh, well, honestly, no problem. I would love to just be involved in anything right now due to COVID, so I'm enjoying this.
All right, so you have to explain to our audience where you are from because your accent is very appealing to us American people.
So I'm from Dundee in Scotland, which probably no one knows about. It's about an hour away from Glasgow, so yeah, we're kind of in the middle of nowhere.
Wow. And what's your performing background?
So I've done musical theatre since I was about 6 in Dundee, and then when I left high school, I went to Glasgow to study musical theatre for 3 years, and I've now come away with my BA in musical theatre, which is amazing. I absolutely loved every single second of it, and I'm here now, so it's great.
And when we were talking during your interview, you were saying that things were a little bit more open there, or...
It was, it was at the time, yeah. When we first spoke, things were kind of starting to open up again, but we got back into lockdown, so we're back to the beginning again, unfortunately. But there's definitely been a few things that we've been able to do. We've done online shows and different things like that, different cabarets just like this. So it has kept us all going so far.
No, that's great. So when you heard that everything was going into lockdown, what was your mind like? Was it like, oh no, my career is over, or was it?
Yeah, I think we've all definitely felt that way, especially in Dundee. It's such a small city that there's not a lot going on professional theatre wise here. So normally we would go to Glasgow, which is the closest, or London or further afield, but with COVID we haven't been able to do anything like that. So all we've been able to do is solely Dundee kind of community theatre, which has been good, don't get me wrong, it's been great. And to meet everyone and see everyone again, even just for a little while, has been fantastic. But apart from that, we haven't really been able to do any live theatre as such yet.
Yeah, I mean, the only live theater I know about are people I think going on to cruise ships eventually, they're getting ready to go onto cruise ships. Yeah. And some theaters are opening, and then I hear horror stories of people booking things and getting ready to start, and then they're like, actually we're pushing the show back to next year. So
that's it. It has been a nightmare, and we had so many shows coming up just before COVID hit us, and we weren't able to do any of them, and they've been postponed a year, and then now they've been postponed 2 years. So the show I was supposed to be doing in 2020 is now 2022. So hopefully by that time I'll still be able to do the part.
What show was that?
Which part is that? It was Pinocchio and Shrek.
Oh.
Yeah, totally different for me, completely different.
Our casting was on Backstage, which, did you get that for COVID specifically because things were shut down, or did you already have a Backstage account?
Yeah, to be honest, I didn't really have many online apps or anything like that for theatre, because I was mostly teaching dance and singing and drama in Dundee or around our area. So when COVID did hit, I was right onto the apps looking to see what I could do, especially online virtually, because a lot of the things, especially online, aren't in Dundee, aren't in Scotland. They're London or further afield like you guys, New York area. So to be able to try and find something I was able to be a part of was really hard. There wasn't much at all that I could do, even virtually. Not a lot of people were looking for this. So to be able to do this is just great. It's something that I really enjoy, and getting to do it in such a different way is a great experience.
I'm glad we could provide the platform for you because, again, you're such a talent. Speaking of your talent, you were going to sing a song for us, one of my favorite songs, if it's still the same one.
It is still the same one. I'm going to sing The Girl in 14G, which I've sang this for years now and I absolutely love it. But especially during COVID, I feel like this character, if you haven't heard the song, is my neighbours. Me trying to sing all these different things, my neighbour's probably knocking next door telling me to shut up. So it plays a great deal to my heart right now during COVID, and probably to my neighbours as well, as they've heard it on loop for literally over a year now. So I'll just get it all set up if that's okay, yeah?
Yeah, no problem. I'm glad that this song literally resembles your life right now. I think that's great. And I think that's where our best songs come from. The songs that mean the most to us, or the songs that relate most to us are the ones that are the most powerful. So
Yes.
we only have to know your neighbors one more time at least for this.
One more time at least. Hopefully they're not too bad.
Knock on the door and say, sorry. It's one more time.
As I said, if the doorbell rings, I'll just keep singing. They'll go away eventually.
That's part of the song. I think they know their cues now, right?
Exactly. So. Just moved into 14G, so cozy, calm, and peaceful. Heaven for a mouse like me, who is quiet by the leaseful. Pets are banned, and parties too, and no solicitations. A window seat with garden view, a perfect nook to read a book. I'm lost in my Jane Austen when I hear, say it isn't so, not the flat below. From an opera wannabe in 13G, a matinee of some contender bangers ringing Traviata. My first night in 14G, I'll put up with Puccini. I'll brew myself a cup of tea, crochet until she's fini. 8:30 and not a peep, except the clock's tick-tocking. Now I lay me down to sleep, a comfy bed to rest my head, a stretch, a yawn. I'm almost gone when Zoe's rattle tattle do skilly did Now the girl upstairs wakes me unawares, blowing down from 15G, her reveille. She's scattered like her name is Ella. Guess who answers a cappella? No, I'm not one to raise my voice, make a fuss, or speak my mind, but might I query, would you mind if, could you kindly, stop? That felt good. Stop! 13, 15, 14G, your most unlikely trio. Not quite three-part harmony. Until night we're singing. Shout out loud, I changed my diet all because of 14G.
Isn't she great?
Thank you, that was so
Oh my
fun.
gosh. Oh man, you were so excellent. It was funny because right before we began the interview, we were talking about how when we sing, it's typically like the American accent, right? Because that's how I guess a lot of people are trained to sing. Not everybody, just a lot of people. And it's funny to hear your natural accent and then your singing accent that are totally two different things. It's like you're two different people, and it's amazing.
Well, I'll have to take some credit. I listen to you guys quite a lot on the playlists and stuff. I kind of grab certain things from your accent. I hope you're not offended from what I've just done.
No. If anything, I feel like it. I watched the first thing that like Scottish thing I think I saw was some Austin Powers thing. I don't remember what the character's name is, but I'm like, if that's the first thing that comes into my mind when I think Scotland, I think that's offensive. So I mean, like, you know.
No, I know. I would love to hear you guys doing some Scottish accents. That would be
I'm not even gonna try it. Well, Zoe, it was so great talking to you. Do you have anything to say for your last little bit?
Just a massive thank you for having me involved, guys. I really appreciate it, and I've loved this opportunity. It's been fantastic.
Yeah, we're definitely going to get you cast in a Tenacious Theatrics show soon, so just keep a lookout. Yes, we will have something for you, don't worry. All right, last but not least, we have Justin Hanks. He is playing our Oren in our Little Shop of Horrors online cabaret. Hi, Justin.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Of course. Can you tell our audience just a little bit about your background as well and where you started your career and how it's been going up until COVID?
Sure. So my name's Justin again. I'll say it 1,000 times. But I live in Cincinnati, Ohio, and my theater experience actually kind of started with Little Shop. When I was in, kinda. There's a little bit of history to this, but when I was in junior high, my English teacher saw that I was very creative. I did a lot of like writing stuff, and she was like, why don't you, join the next play that's coming up? And it was a production of The Diary of Anne Frank, and they already had the cast, but they were like, we just need some Nazis to come in at the end and beat stuff up. So I was like, okay, cool. So, and I had my 2 minutes of throwing chairs across the room, and I was so proud of that, and ever since then I was hooked. So I was like, okay, I'm going to audition for a show and hopefully get to do something a little bit more exciting. So I auditioned for Little Shop, and I actually got the part of Mushnik, and that was a lot of fun. I think it was good for a junior high production. I have the DVD, and I watched it recently, and I'm never sharing that with anyone.
No, I was just about to say you need to send that over, please, pronto, or at least share it with the Zoom with the cast.
Maybe a screenshot. I don't know. It's rough. But yeah, so that was like my first musical, and all through high school, all through college, and even a little bit beyond that, I was just in show after show after show. I did community theater. I had a job at the Cincinnati Zoo where I did shows there and did character stuff. Like, I was just like nonstop theater. But I actually went to college for computer science because, I don't know, I guess I didn't have enough confidence in myself that I would be able to, make a career out of it. So, I became a developer after college, and then slowly just kind of quit doing theater, got a job as a developer, and just, kept doing that. And then I went like a 5-year period of not doing like any performances at all. And I actually kind of got a little bit depressed, just felt like something was missing in my life, didn't really know what it was. And, I was always telling myself, well, I can get back into theater whenever I want to. But then the pandemic happened, and suddenly I couldn't get back into theater, and I wanted to. So that was really rough for me, and I was like, nope, I've got to stop putting this off. I got to start, jumping back into my passions. So started, doing virtual productions, just trying to get involved in anything again. And so the pandemic's actually been like a kind of a good thing for me. It's been a very transformative process. I'm very happy with how the last year's been for me. And I also lost 80 pounds during the pandemic, so that's something I've been...
Oh my god, congratulations!
Thank you. Yeah, and I've got a before photo of that too, but it's another thing I don't know if I want to share.
Yeah, that you can keep that private if you want. But the Little Shop thing, you have to absolutely share with us.
Okay, fine. That's a fair trade-off. I'll do that.
Wow. So it's funny because when we were texting the other day, because you were just in the comedy cabaret produced by, oh goodness, what's their name again?
Drawing Cat.
Drawing Cats Productions. Yeah. You were playing Gaston in your song, and we were texting about how you always get typecast as these like abusive characters. And it's funny that your start of your career was a Nazi throwing chairs on stage.
Well, yeah, at least I didn't audition for that, so I don't feel like I was typecast for that one because that was just like a volunteer thing. It's actually funny though. I really love doing character work. Like that's my favorite thing. And like whenever I get cast in something, I like go all out. I'm like, okay, what's my posture? What's my voice? What's my accent? Zoe and I probably need to connect at some point. But I'm always like trying to figure out like, okay, how can I be as different from myself as possible? And I go like all out. And then what I guess I do a good job in whatever that is. And then I get typecast as whatever that thing is going forward. So like all high school, I was old people. All college, I was like the flamboyant, like gay best friend. There was one like sketch I was in where I did that, and they're like, "Oh, we love it," and then just I was the gay best friend in everything for like 4 years. So now it seems like I'm the toxic, masculine, womanizing guy, and it's like been 3 or 4 productions in a row now of that. But I'm having fun. Hopefully, I get to do something else soon.
Absolutely, and that's one of the reasons why I think Oren, for you at least, is great as I guess an acting exercise and getting out of like a bubble, because Oren in the original stage production gets to play all these different characters through the show. It's not just one character. And that's why I love him so much. And having auditioned you and talking to you, I'm like, yeah, this guy could definitely pull it off. And it was funny because I thought you auditioned for Seymour at first, and then you corrected me. You said, no, I auditioned for Oren.
I would have taken either.
I think you would have been great. But I love you as Oren. I love you as the other characters. I don't want to spoil anything, but Justin is playing so many characters in the show, and they're all fantastic. You can definitely see him as a character actor. It's absolutely fantastic. And again, like seeing you in other productions as well, and seeing how you do your other characters in other shows is awesome. So we're very lucky to have you. I'll say that.
Thank you.
So what are you sharing with us?
Okay, so since this whole thing is kind of about the pandemic, I actually wrote a song about the pandemic a couple of months ago. It's a Christmas song. And the story behind that is, so another thing, when I was in high school, I was in a performance group that would go and tour at like nursing homes and elementary schools, and we would sing various holiday songs and, spread, the holiday spirit and cheer. And there was always just like, between that and also working at the zoo at the Festival of Lights, just like the holiday time was always this like big performance time for me. So I was like, if I'm coming back into theater and I'm gonna perform stuff again, I want to do a holiday song. And of course, everything was still shut down. Like I think like cases were peaking around the holiday time. So I was like, I guess I'm making my own show. So I wrote my own holiday song, and that's what I'm going to share with you all.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh my gosh, we have so many creatives in this cast. We have John doing all this stuff in the States and everywhere, and we got Christian writing his own musicals. Yeah. Oh man, I'm excited. Woo!
Well, you haven't seen it yet, so. But before, I have to get in the spirit, so we gotta.
Yes. Yes.
Here we go.
It's very exciting.
2020 just hasn't been funny, and COVID has been so traumatic. Now as it's concluding, a man is intruding, and he is not asymptomatic. Santa's coughing by the Christmas tree, He better stay 6 feet from me. I won't be gracious, 'cause this is outrageous. The holiday spirit can be so contagious. Santa's wheezing by the Christmas tree. I think it's time to quarantine. I'm a believer that he's a dry heaver, so now I've got the Christmas fever. His cheeks are still rosy, but not 'cause he's cozy, so I'll ask for a ventilator and hand sanitizer, a face shield or visor, and extra rolls of toilet paper. Yeah, coronavirus has given him dryness. His lips are as blue as a toothpaste. I guess we were rookies. We left milk and cookies for someone who can't smell or taste. Santa's coughing by the Christmas tree. He better stay 6 feet from me. I won't be gracious, 'cause this is outrageous. The holiday spirit can be so contagious. Santa's wheezing by the Christmas tree. I think it's time to quarantine. I'm a believer that he's a dry heaver, so now I've got the Christmas fever. His breathing sounds funky, and not 'cause he's chunky. He left me a chimney of vomit. His foolish resistance to socially distance has cost us the life of dear Comet. He says he's protected by bleach he injected and a cure that he puts in his costume. Yeah, he says he puts in hydroxychloroquine, so I think I'll Christmas from Zoom. Santa's coughing by the Christmas tree. He better stay 6 feet from me. I won't be gracious, 'cause this is outrageous. The holiday spirit can be so contagious. Santa's wheezing by the Christmas tree. I think it's time to quarantine. Oh, I'm a believer that he's a dry heaver, so now I got the Christmas fever. So now I got the Christmas fever. So now I've got the Christmas fever. Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh my God. So this song is streaming everywhere, right?
Sure.
Sure. Have you gotten it produced yet, or what?
No. I'm
Well,
such
it
a
needs to be. This could be the next Feliz Navidad.
I'm such a perfectionist. I've yet to settle on a like when I record it and stuff. I'm just like, oh, that's not good enough. That's not good enough, and it never. I just recorded a live take of this, put this on YouTube. That was it.
Well, okay, so you have a YouTube video of it.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'll make sure to get that link so we can spread that. That was that. Okay, so all I was thinking during that one, your voice is fantastic, of course.
Oh,
But
thank you.
two, I'm thinking like 30, 40 years down the line when, hopefully this all is gone, long gone, and kids are listening to this song, and they're like, what is he talking about? And we're like, there was that point in time when the coronavirus was, like, no one is gonna know what the hell is going on. But to us, like the people who lived through it, it will be such like a funny memory. I think this is a very comedic. It makes light of all the trauma from this past year, and that's why I loved it so much.
Yeah. Hopefully, people forget about this in 1 year. I'm exhausted.
Oh my gosh! I think by a year from now, things will start to be pushed back to the side, but we'll still remember it, of course. There's gonna be that period in time. That's what I mean. Like again, like kids are not gonna know what we're talking about, but to us, it's like we always will remember this period in time. But I'm glad that even though COVID was COVID, or is COVID, I should say, it's still happening. We're still in 2021. Gave you an opportunity to come back into the performance world because you were such a great talent. You need to just, I mean, of course, if you love developing, develop, but we love you in the performance world, so you definitely need to stay.
Okay, will do.
Awesome. Any last things, Justin?
Yes. So one of the things I'm doing outside of Little Shop is I'm in a vaudeville troupe. We perform once a month. Right now the shows are virtual. The group is Queen City Vaudevillians. Please check it out. We do magic, singing, comedy, audience games and participation. It's a lot of fun. It's a good way to spend a Saturday night, so please check us out.
Yes, we will definitely have a link and Instagram. You have an Instagram and Facebook and everything like that?
I don't need to plug my own. Just go to Queen City Vaudevillians and we'll make sure that's at the bottom.
Yes, it will be displayed on the bottom there. Awesome. Well, everyone, thank you so much for joining us tonight, and to all of our talent tonight. We appreciate you joining us as well. Be sure to go to tenacioustheatrics.com to see all of our other content and all the other episodes that we put out before this one. And again, don't forget to tune in to Little Shop of Horrors Online Cabaret, streaming in May. We will see you on the next episode of How We Keep the Art Alive. Pah.